The biggest lie in fitness is that winners never quit. In reality, the fastest people to lose 20, 50, even 100 pounds are actually the biggest quitters you'll ever meet, myself included. The trick is to know exactly when to quit, because quitting has a paradox, and getting it wrong keeps people stuck for years. After coaching thousands of people on when to quit and when to persist, I've put together a simple traffic light system I call the 4-light check that I use every day to tell me when to wait, when to pivot, and what specifically to pivot to. No more guessing, white-knuckling, or asking, is it me or my plan? To understand the paradox, we have to look at the first and most ignored light in the check. Have you ever done a weight loss plan where you thought, I'll just push through till my goal, and then I'll figure out how to make it work with the rest of my life? But then it becomes too much. You quit, the weight rushes back, and you blame your lack of discipline, when in reality, you were running a red light from day one. Most people redesign their entire life at once because they're either trying to fast forward into a perfect future self, or they don't trust themselves to moderate old habits. I get it. I did this too. But after 8 years of coaching, I have never seen this work. Why? Because when you change too many things at once, your old identity fights back. One habit throwing a tantrum is manageable. 5 is impossible. This is why the first light is meet yourself where you're at. And unlike other lights, it's red or green, no yellow, because the cost of a maybe is too high. Mark your plan green if it adds at most 2 new units of cognitive load. New means anything that hasn't become automatic yet, roughly something you haven't been sticking to for at least a month. Like if you started tracking, you may stop eating a little sooner and track after the meal. 2 new units of cognitive load. But if you decided to cook differently to meet the target, then you also have to try new recipes, which makes the cognitive load at least 3 new units and therefore a red. And if this light is red, it doesn't even matter if you're seeing results because you're in strategic failure. You're winning the battle, but you've already lost the war. So paradoxically, even with scale wins, this is a mandatory quit. But even if your mind is a happy partner thanks to low cognitive load, is your body partnering with you? Most of us expect to feel hangry, crave our favorite foods, and be grumpy while losing weight. We think this is just how weight loss works. But these are biological reactions from your body. And when you ignore them, they escalate until hunger and fatigue cause you to either quit partway or reach your goal only to regain. You think you lost control, but in reality, you just ignored your body's feedback and ran a red light. This is why the second light is reactions. Give your plan a green if these are true 5 or more days in the past week. Stable energy throughout the day. Hunger only after 3.5 to 4 hours since your last meal, and you're sleeping through the night. Yellow if these show up repeatedly. Midday energy slump, hunger within 2 to 3 hours of your last meal, and you're slightly wired at night. And red if most days you're fried, hungry an hour since your last meal, have poor sleep, and zero libido. If you're a yellow, you need a tweak. If you're a red, there's a biological misfit, which means you need a big pivot or in some cases, a strategic quit. I'll walk through when to do which a bit later in the video. But even with your mind and body on board, you still need to take actions that cause weight loss consistently. And there's one silent killer of consistency I see all the time. When I was losing weight, I felt like I was doing everything right. I spent hours extracting strategies from weight loss content. I fought cravings. I argued with myself at night about whether I deserved a snack. And when the scale went up, I'd think, I'm doing so much. These plans just don't work for me. That is, until I started tracking my consistency, my adherence rate. What I found surprised me. Even on weeks I felt I had given my all, my adherence rate was often below 60%. I call this effort substitution, confusing the mental energy you spend trying to meet targets with actually meeting them. This is normal, but it's dangerous because it convinces you that your body is broken, pushing you toward more extreme plans that make consistency even harder and can wreck your body. So to fight effort substitution, the third light is actions. Your plan gets a green if your adherence rate is 80% or higher over the past 3 weeks. That's the level where progress reliably shows up. Yellow is 65 to 80%. Life is getting in the way. You need some tweaks to your plan. And red is anything below 65%. You're white-knuckling it and missing targets anyway, which means the system is too hard to run. At that point, a major simplification, pivot, or in some cases, a strategic quit is needed. When to do which, coming soon. Finally, we're at the light everyone obsesses over, results. and yet draws the wrong conclusions from the most. Here's my client Carrie's fat loss graph. She lost about 1.2% of fat loss per week, which puts her comfortably in the expected 0.5 to 2% per week. So her results were green. That outcome also made sense because her adherence rate was 87% to a 1700 calorie target. So actions are also green. So by most people's logic, this plan was working. And yet we pivoted her plan to 1800 calories and added a 20-gram protein target. Why? Because when we looked at her reactions, turned out to be red. Specifically, she was hungry within 1 hour of her previous meals. This is metabolic debt. She was losing fat while stressing her biology in a way that eventually turns results red. Results tell you what is happening, but reactions tell you whether it's sustainable. It clearly wasn't. So since her results were on the higher end of green at 1.2%, we knew we had room to increase calories without risking a stall below 0.5% per week, which would push her into yellow. So as you can see, over the next few months, her fat loss over here keeps going. This is the quitting paradox in action. We changed the plan while it was working, so it could keep working, and saved her months of burnout, plateaus, and rebounds later. But what about Kevin's case, where his results are yellow because he's in a plateau over here? So is it time to change the plan? Well, if you look at his reactions, we see that they're green. His hunger, energy, and sleep are all good. His actions light is also green because he hit his calorie target in the past 2 weeks. But notice he wasn't hitting them consistently the 2 to 3 weeks prior. And because fat loss runs on delayed feedback loops, meaning there's a lag between what you do and what shows up on the scale, Kevin's plateau was just a results lag. So we made the deliberate decision to hold steady. And here's what happened next. You can see here his results go green. He's losing fat again. This is the other side of the quitting paradox. We hold steady sometimes when the results aren't happening. Now, here's Ingrid, whose reactions are green, but she's overshooting her targets, and yet she's losing about 0.8% of body fat per week, when meaning her results are green. So does this mean we can raise her targets? It depends. If Ingrid had just started in our program and we saw these lights for 3 weeks straight, we'd raise her targets because her body would be telling us her resting metabolic rate is higher than we estimated at the start. But since Ingrid had been in the program for a while, we had already done such an adjustment where we pinpointed her metabolic rate and calibrated her target accordingly. This means this was yet again a results lag, but in the opposite direction of Kevin. Unless she tightened up her adherence rate, her results will be turning red, fat gain, in the next few weeks for sure. So instead of raising her targets, we tightened execution and gave her a heads up about what was coming. That one decision saved her weeks of confusion and kept her progress moving forward. But how do you actually run this on yourself, week after week, so you don't second guess every stall, spike, or urge to quit? You can do it in 2 ways. One, if you want my help shortcutting through all the trial and error to knowing exactly when to stick, pivot, or quit, so you reach your goal while working with your body, then learn more about my weight loss program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then download the 4 light check PDF in the description below. And then watch the video where I show you how to correctly execute the verdict per case in the PDF. It took my co-coach Lucy and I 10 years and $45,000 combined to figure this all out. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.